Protests continue in Kenya. 19 reported deaths, about 400 injured, and several have been arrested. As the Prime Minister has touted the ongoing demonstration as a terrorism in between or within the Kenyan land, William Ruto and his new financial bill saw a huge opposition in 2024. Why is the bill still on the table after his public apology on this subject? My name is Ishmael Mubarak and this is MI4 Studios. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and on TikTok at MI4 Studios. For business enquiries and to send us news information, send us through our email info.mi4studios@gmail.com. Now, let's move into the subject. Right. I'd like to share some facts with you as Kenyan's civil unrest is still ongoing. Numbers have been recorded dead, numbers recorded injured, numbers recorded arrested, and the unrest continues. The immediate trigger is the controversial financial bill by President William Ruto's administration. This bill was introduced last year, 2024, and the entire Kenyan citizenry pour out onto the streets of Kenya, Nairobi, and other places to demonstrate against what the financial bill seek to do or seek to achieve. It took some days when the whole incident started turning murkier, started moving above in terms of tempo, and nearly pushing the state into a disreputation, where the parliament of Kenya were attacked and parliamentarians were brutally attacked. Also, certain individuals that were seen as members of the government were attacked and some got their homes burnt through the same introduction of this particular bill. How did William Ruto become a big mess up after a fantastic start and a splendid 2023 when he attended the Paris summit, speaking on behalf of Africa, calling the West to respect Africa, calling the West to allow Africa to handle its business, and telling the entire world that Africa has got its business. And this new financial bill has been proposed by the Parliament of Kenya. If you go into this particular bill, it gives you so many instances where you realize that a lot has been tied to the West, or a lot of demand has been tied to the West. And this is where the Kenyans, or the people of Kenya, after going through uncertainty in terms of job production, uncertainty in terms of repression and depression and oppression in the country, as well as taxation, high taxation in Kenya, have realized that William Ruto and his administration is trying to take them for a ride. And so therefore, the proposed sweeping tax hike amid other soaring living costs, is part of the reasons why, and this particular financial bill has stated that particular increment in taxes over them. Right. But what had become the protest against the economy quickly evolved into a broader movement against police brutality, government corruption, and perceived authoritarianism. I mean, when people have been depressed for so long and they are waiting to, come out of their shells, the least opportunity is going to trigger them into be able to coming out. And so this particular reintroduction of the bill became the reintroduction or a platform where these Kenyans are able to, vent their anger and their misunderstanding towards the governmental policies. On June 25, 2025, 2,000 Kenyans took to the street across Nairobi and 23 other countries. The protests were largely youth-led, decentralized, and fueled by social media platforms like TikTok, Twitter, X, and Instagram. The hashtags as have been put was hashtag reject finance bill 2024, hashtag occupy parliament, and hashtag Gen Z revolution. This became the yelling, hashtags on the various social media, and it took the whole thing spiraling out of control, because this particular demonstration has happened before, and the people of Kenya came out in their thousands, and so therefore I didn't think that William Ruto and his administration were going to risk again the peace and tranquility of Kenya by tabling up the same particular bill that was rejected by the masses. But then nothing really changed in the bill. William Ruto stood on stage after apologizing, telling and promising everybody that his administration was going to review this entire, bill and come back again to the people. The human cost and government response, the toll has been very devastating, as I've already told you, and Amnesty International and other right groups have condemned this particular excessive force used on them. People can demonstrate and people can go AWA. This is why the security are trained when to be able to be civil or match civil to civilianity, and when to be able to put some medium to a higher kind of force on them to get the results. But at the point where guns are supposed to be sprayed into the public, then you are getting it all wrong, because this shooting of public or demonstrators has never stopped anybody from demonstrating on the lands of Africa. We can talk about Somalia, we can talk about Liberia, we can talk about Libya, we can talk about your own country Kenya, we can talk about Rwanda. Demonstration that has seen shootings or that has seen casualties are even the demonstrations that last longer and are probably or potentially able to plunge the nation into chaos. And so therefore it is so much of all of this is the government has, however, taken a hardline stance. Interior Minister Chipumba has come out to label the protesters terrorism disguised as dissent. That is what the Interior Minister, who is in charge of security of Kenyan people, is saying. And so therefore it is not actually very surprising to find the military using brutal force, leading to the number of deaths that has been recorded so far and the total chaos that is erupting in Kenya. And he has tagged their demonstration as unconstitutional. Yes, they may have not gone through the right processes to acquire the rights or the whole permission to demonstrate, but then this have come out as a big demonstration, and this is a part 2 of something that this Interior Minister has witnessed and seen how dangerous it is to the security of Kenya, and so therefore should have made sense when he was speaking to the people, or should have been able to buy into the public sentiment and not making a hardline stand to this regard. And I'm so disappointed in William Ruto's government, because I'm one of the people who had rooted for William Ruto to take power and had followed some of his activities when he took the reins of power, and really had so much respect for him, used him in several platforms as an example, the exemplary African kind of leader, when he was seemingly fighting for the unity of Africa and Pan-Africa coming together to live by it. So obviously the United Nations will come in. They have expressed their grievance. The United Nations is one of the organizations in the entire world that I feel so disappointed in, because you see people dying in Iran, people dying in Yemen, people died in Iraq, people died in wherever. You can name them, and yet these rights of persons, of sovereign states and people have all been enshrined in the United Nations human rights law system, and they are all there. But these countries pick and choose how human rights is explained as and when it fits them. It's some form of like a menu for them when you come and it's a buffet and you choose what you want to eat. But unfortunately, Africans and African countries cannot choose and eat what they want to eat when it comes to the human right, at the UN level. And that's where my disappointment is, because Palestinians are dying, Gazans are dying, Hamas people are dying, the likes of, the numbers of people who are dying every day in the world as a result of intentional, wars. It's so sickening. And to hear that a human resource organization as big as the UN will come and be talking gibberish and rubbish at the end of the day in certain jurisdiction, it's painful. It's kind of so disappointing to see that Russia and Ukraine has been at the neck of each other, killing millions of people daily in a 3-year-long war. And there is a human resource, a human United Nations, organization that is supposed to call a people and human beings to other. And it's so they make so much money, they get so much money, and they are almost everywhere in the world, and yet that's very little. So what is particularly striking is that this movement that is ongoing in Kenya has a faceless leadership system. It's like you wouldn't find an individual or a group of persons claiming that they are frontlining this particular movement. So you see, it is Kenya or Kenyans for Kenya. This movement is not like any opposition party trying to take over the certain government. This is Kenyans. And when a government is making bad decisions, people watching their homes, when there is difficulty and oppression, people experience it in their lives. And so therefore, what one person might be thinking might be what 1,000 is thinking about. In situations where civil wars broke out, it took individuals to just come out, headless individuals, chicken individuals to just come out, and then everybody followed. And so therefore, this is where the whole thing becomes a big strike for me, because there is no individual or there is no group that is claiming responsibility of fueling the demonstration that is ongoing. And that is where the big disappointment is for the statement made by the Interior Minister. The unrest is more than a reaction to a single bill. It's a generational reckoning. That is what it feels right now. Because if I take a look at what is happening, it feels like the Kenyan youth are demanding not just economic relief, but a re-imaging of its governance. To me, according to my research, what I've read about Kenyan, what I've studied about the Kenyan economy, and what has been happening in the last 4 years under Ruto, this is not just throw away the bill and we are good to go. This is throw away the bill, yet we want to reshape the kind of image that the Kenyan political or governance is having. The kind of parliament we want, the kind of leadership we are looking at, and the kind of things we are looking from these leaders. And so, re-imaging of governance, accountability according to what I feel, and justice for the people or the citizenry of Kenya. So this movement is a meaningful reform that cuts deeper into the future of the Kenyan governance. And so therefore, if William Ruto is able to constitutionally complete his term of office, going forward, any political house or political party that would have been probably preparing itself to Ghana for the next electioneering year is going to have itself fully prepared or properly positioned in coming into power, because it has realized that the people or the masses of Kenya is looking for a different set of leadership style, a different direction from leadership, and they are ready to demand accountability from the leadership. 19 people reported dead so far, 400 and more injured, about several of them have been arrested, and that is the current situation of Kenyan right now. This is MI4 Studios. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on TikTok as well as Facebook at MI4 Studios. My name is Ishmael Mubarak. Thank you for watching.